Hello, and welcome back to lesson number 6, Organizing Your Essay. Now that we have learned and mastered the strategies for doing an unseen, we're going to focus on strategies for the composition, the written assignment part of the Module G. First, you have to understand how the composition is being marked. It's important to know what you're losing points on, so you can take steps to make sure it doesn't happen. The composition is worth 40 points, which are divided into 4 categories: content, vocabulary, language, and mechanics. The content is worth 8 points. If you read the instructions carefully, write to the point in an organized way with an opening paragraph, body, and conclusion, you'll probably get all the points. It's relatively easy to get the maximum points in this category. Vocabulary is worth 8 points, but even if you don't make any vocabulary mistakes, you'll get only 6 out of 8 if you use just ordinary, medium-level words.
But I want to get the maximum, so how do I get those extra 2 points? But I want to get the maximum, so how do I get those 2 extra points?
That's a great question. You will get them if you use high-level words such as consequences, השלכות, or loquacious, פטפטן, דברן.
What? How can I learn these high-level words?
Don't worry about it now. There is a special section in the lesson where I discuss how to acquire better vocabulary and even give you a list. Let's go on. Language is worth 16 points, and it's not easy to get a high score in it. The language category includes all the grammar. I don't want to bore you with the details of how this category is checked in the Bagrut, but there is one important point you have to be aware of. You will never get above 12 points if you use only basic tenses: the present simple and progressive, past simple and progressive, and future. These are the base tenses. Even if you don't make a single mistake in the grammar, but you have only these basic tenses, you'll never get the maximum of 16 points.
Why is it like that? What can I do about it?
Well, Model G is the highest level and most difficult exam of the 5 points. So in order to get the maximum in language, you have to show that you know how to write in advanced forms, not just the basic tenses.
What are the advanced forms?
Okay.
What are the advanced forms?
I'm glad you asked. We're going to devote a special lesson to them, but for now I will just say that they are the perfect tenses, past and present, all the conditional sentences, the if sentences, and passive.
Okay. What is that last category? Mechanics? What does it mean?
Mechanics is worth 8 points, and it includes spelling mistakes, but only up to 4 points out of the 8. Capital letters, division to paragraphs, and punctuation, סימני פיסוק. Now that you've understood how the points are divided among the 4 categories, we'll start working on improving your composition in each category, and we'll start with content. As I've already mentioned, if you write to the point in an organized essay, you'll get the maximum points. So let's discuss how the essay should be organized. Most of the written presentation in the Model G Bagrut exam. Most of the written presentation questions in the Model G Bagrut exam ask you to write an opinion essay, although there is also a small chance of getting a descriptive essay. So we'll focus on opinion essays, but I'll also cover the descriptive essay, just to be on the safe side. Opinion essays can be either one-sided or two-sided essays. The difference between them is a difference of focus. In the one-sided essay, you focus only on your opinion, and you relate only briefly to the opposite opinion. Whereas in the two-sided essay, you give equal place to each opposing opinion and write your own opinion only in the conclusion. Each opinion essay is divided into 4 paragraphs: opening, body, and conclusion. The body of the essay is composed of 2 paragraphs where you give examples and evidence to support your opinion. Look at the charts I prepared to make it clearer. One-sided opinion essay. Focus on your opinion. In the opening paragraph, introduce the subject of your essay. Relate briefly to the opposing opinion and state your own opinion. Paragraph 2. Write your first reason for supporting this opinion. Bring an example from real life, either from your own experience or from others. You can bring evidence from the news, internet, or other sources of information. Paragraph 3. Give another reason that supports your opinion. Bring another example or evidence that support your claim. And finally, the conclusion. Conclude your essay by repeating the most important point and saying your opinion again in stronger words. You can add your recommendation. The two-sided opinion essay. Equal focus on both sides plus your opinion. The two-sided opinion essay is also called for and against, or pro-con, or advantages-disadvantages essay. In the opening paragraph, introduce the subject of your essay. Say that it's controversial and that you're going to discuss it. Controversial means שנוי במחלוקת. Paragraph 2. Write the opposing opinion to your own. Give the reasons for supporting this opinion and bring an example from real life, either from your own experience or from others. You can bring evidence from the news, internet, and other sources of information. Paragraph 3. Write the opinion that you agree with. Give reasons why you support it. Bring an example or evidence that supports your claim. And finally, the conclusion. Conclude your essay by saying that in your opinion, your claim is stronger and therefore you support this side. Repeat your opinion again in stronger words and add your recommendation.
Now I know how to organize my essay, but where do I begin?
It's always recommended to start with a draft of your essay. That's what the draft page in the Bagrut booklet is for. If you prepare a chart of your essay, similar to these charts, and just write the main points of the things you want to write, it will help you to see the big picture and make sure you don't forget anything. What usually happens to students who don't prepare a draft is that they get carried away with their ideas and sometimes end up writing about something entirely different. This, of course, costs them points taken from the content category. Sometimes students write very long second and third paragraphs and then they forget to write a conclusion. All these mishaps can be prevented by writing a draft first. Remember, it doesn't have to be very detailed, and you can even write it in Hebrew if you like. The examiner is not going to look at it. However, if you do write a detailed draft that looks like an essay, don't forget to write draft above it, and then final version above the real essay.
After I write the draft, where do I begin?
In the beginning, the opening paragraph presents the subject of the essay and sets the tone for the whole essay. There are many ways to start, and you can always come up with your own original way. But to make things a bit simpler, I'll give you a few good openings to choose from. The first opening, rephrasing the instruction. Use the words in the instruction to help you formulate an opening sentence. It's also an opportunity to use an advanced grammatical form, present perfect. For example, lately or recently there has been a debate about whether or. This is the formula. For example, let's take the topic given in Moed Bet Summer 2017. Many people think that all types of work are suitable for both women and men. Do you agree? So what you can write using my formula is this. Recently, there has been a debate about whether all types of work are suitable for both women and men or not. While some people may claim that they are not, I totally agree that every work is suitable for both genders. Using this formula allows you to change any instruction into an opening sentence. Just change the words a little to make it yours. The second way I'm offering you here is the rhetorical question. Starting your essay with a question is a way to get the reader involved and interested. It's also an opportunity to use an advanced grammatical form, the present perfect. The formula is have you ever plus a verb in the third form. I can think about a number of rhetorical questions to start with, and I'm sure you can come up with a few more. The easiest one is taking the words of the instruction and turning it into a question. For example, have you ever thought about the question whether all types of work are suitable for both women and men? In the same way, you can use this formula for every topic you get. Let's look at the instruction for Moed Bet Summer 2017. Can we trust our first impression of a person? Why or why not? Have you ever thought about the question whether we can trust our first impression of a person? You see? Notice, you don't use if in the middle of the sentence, but use whether instead. When you take the instruction, you have to change the word order so it's not phrased as a question but as a regular sentence. Instead of can we trust, we wrote whether we can trust and not if we can trust. Okay? So you can continue with I, for one, have given it a lot of thought. I think. Or you can continue with many people believe that. However, I believe that. Let me show you the whole paragraph in both versions. In the first version, have you ever thought about the question whether we can trust our first impression of a person? I, for one, have given it a lot of thought. I think we cannot trust our first impression for many reasons which I'm about to discuss in this essay. Or you can choose to go with the second version. Have you ever thought about the question whether we can trust our first impression of a person? Many people believe we can and should trust our first impressions. However, I believe we mustn't trust our first impressions, and in this essay I will explain why. I should point out that both these versions are good openings for a one-sided opinion essay. Would you like to try?
Sure.
Okay. The instruction is this. Do you think friends should always be honest with each other? Which version would you like to go with? A or B?
I will choose A.
Okay, very good.
Can I write other rhetorical questions for the opening of my essay?
Of course, you can phrase any question starting with have you ever? For example, let's try a few questions for the same topic of first impressions. Have you ever met a person who made you feel you could fully trust him? Have you ever been disappointed in a person you thought you could trust? Has it ever happened to you that you met someone, trusted him on first impression, only to find out later that he lied to you? The nature of the question you phrase depends on the direction you want to go in your essay. Now let's look at this opening in a two-sided essay, which is slightly different because you don't give your opinion, but just present the controversial subject.
What is controversial?
I'm so glad you asked. It means שנוי במחלוקת. And controversy means מחלוקת, ויכוח עקרוני. It's a very important word for the two-sided essay. So, version C of the rhetorical question that uses the words of the instruction goes like this. This is a controversial issue. While some people believe that, others believe that. Let's look at the complete opening paragraph. Have you ever thought about the question whether we can trust our first impression of a person? This is a controversial issue. While some people believe we can trust our first impressions without any hesitation, others believe we should be very careful who we trust and don't believe in their own first impressions.
What other ways are there to open an essay?
Well, if you really want to impress the examiner and score an extra point, you can try the inversion. At first it may sound a little weird to you, but I promise you that with practice it will grow on you. It goes like this. In the inversions, you start your essay with a wow sentence. So the formula of the inversion goes like this. Never have I, and then a verb in the third form, a more, some kind of adjective, or in the two-sided essay, it's easier. The formula is, never have I encountered a more controversial issue. Let me give you an example. Never have I seen a more elegant woman. She promised me her course would make me rich, but I soon learned the bitter truth. Or, look at this second example. Never have I been in such an embarrassing situation. I came to a blind date wearing casual clothes and flip-flops, while my date was elegantly dressed in a beautiful dress and high-heel shoes. I was sure I made a terrible first impression on her. Did you get it?
Yes, I did.
Great. Now, for the two-sided essay. Never have I encountered a more controversial issue. Opinions are divided about the question whether we can trust our first impressions. While some people believe that we can trust our first impressions without any hesitation, others believe that we should be very careful who we trust and don't believe in their first impressions. And this sums up the example. Let's sum up what we've learned in this lesson. We learned that it's important to organize our essay with a beginning, body, and conclusion. We saw the organization charts of two types of opinion essays. The one-sided essay, which focuses on your opinion, and the two-sided opinion essay, which gives equal weight to both sides and then adds your opinion in the conclusion. We learned how to write an interesting opening sentence using advanced grammatical forms, which give you extra points in the language category, and high-level vocabulary, which gives you extra points in the vocabulary category of the essay. We learned how to open the essay with a rhetorical question in the present perfect. We learned how to open the essay with an inversion in the present perfect. Goodbye. See you in the next lesson.